With more than 6,000 small and micro-cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next apple at the earliest stage, then channelchek truly is the orchard. The listed companies support channelchek, so it's free for you, the potential investor, to gain access to institutional quality research from FINRA licensed analysts, advanced market data, industry reports, news, and a growing catalog of videos and webcasts. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and register for channelchek so you're always up to date on what's going on at the small and microcap data place. Welcome to the C-Suite series presented by channelchek and Noble Capital Markets. Noble is an SEC-registered, FINRA-licensed broker-dealer and the source of the equity research available on channelchek. Today's interview features TAAL Distributed Information Technologies, OTC ticker symbol TAALF. Noble Senior Research Analyst Joe Gomes interviews TAAL President Chris Naprawa. Visit channelchek.com or click the link in the description for Noble's research on TAAL Distributed Information Technologies, as well as news and advanced market data. And now, here's Joe and Chris.
With us today is Chris Naprawa, President of TAAL Distributed Information Technologies. Good afternoon, Chris, and thanks for taking the time to sit down with us.
Thank you, Joe. Great to be here.
So TAAL is harnessing the power of blockchain processing for enterprise applications. For those in the audience unfamiliar with TAAL, can you talk a little bit about the company's history and what the company does?
Sure. TAAL, we're an infrastructure player. We're specifically an infrastructure player for blockchain, which means we have a whole bunch of processing power. We have enterprise clients, and it is our aim to process their transactions or put their data onto the blockchain. And a lot of us in the company see the adoption of blockchain is happening very, very rapidly. It's a lot like the internet in the 90s, where enterprises everywhere are going to start using blockchain technologies for all kinds of applications, and not just financial transactions, but all kinds of applications. And we want to be the processor of choice on the BitcoinSV blockchain.
So let's delve a little deeper into BitcoinSV. What is it? How did it come about? And what makes BitcoinSV the best alternative for use in transaction processing for enterprise?
Well, the history of BitcoinSV is one that people probably know better than they think they do, because BitcoinSV is the Bitcoin that was envisioned in the white paper in 2008. It's very, very true to that design. And then, what the author talked about was lowering transaction fees for people on the internet. And at that time, PayPal and credit cards were pretty much your only payment rails on the internet at that time, and they were just too high for many types of transactions, micropayments, Internet of Things, many types of these applications that kind of got overlooked. And the way you have to think about Bitcoin is like the internet, that can be adopted for all kinds of applications. So at TAAL, we're one of a number of companies that are 100% dedicated to BitcoinSV. Maybe the reason a lot of yourself and your viewers haven't heard about it is it only really came back to life, reinstated in its true form, really a year ago. About 2.5 years ago, that process started with a hard fork from BCH, and then got reinstated to its original vision about a year ago in 2020. So that functionality and that usefulness is at the core of what we're trying to do. And I think the biggest complaint about BTC is that it's kind of useless. It's the transactions are very, very slow. It consumes an enormous amount of power. In comparison, BitcoinSV today, would consume less than half of 1% of the power that's used on BTC, and doing on average, on a daily average, around 30% more transactions a day.
So if I understand it correctly, one of the key drivers here, as you're looking at this, is, initially everybody is all excited about getting the block rewards for helping along on the blockchains, but eventually those will go away. And transaction processing for enterprise, that is what seems to be the exciting space. That's what seems to be attractive. What is kind of driving it? How fast is the market growing? How big is the total addressable market that you're looking at here?
Well, I think the total addressable market is an astounding number, Joe. Like it's if you just look at supply chain alone, that's a couple $1 trillion right there. And because Bitcoin is a consensus tool, it's a consensus ledger. Things like supply chain, logistics, these are excellent areas to start in for Bitcoin applications. Healthcare is another one, which is a multi-trillion-dollar application around the world. And having something that's super secure by design from the beginning, unlike the internet, there's a lot of useful tools that can be made on that kind of platform.
Can you briefly speak on competition in the space and who are your key competitors?
I think the key competitors are first of all, the good news is that enterprises everywhere, large enterprise everywhere, has been working at and investigating blockchain technologies for the last at least 3 or 4 years. Certainly, there's not a financial institution anywhere in the world that's not trying to figure it out or even having already implemented some blockchain solutions. Smart contracts, food safety, food supply, these are just many of the applications that we see out there. But the two big competing blockchains for us would be Hyperledger and Ethereum. So when you think about, okay, what's an easy way of explaining what BitcoinSV is? Well, it can do absolutely everything that Ethereum can do. It does everything that BTC can do, and it just does it way cheaper and way faster.
Very interesting. It's a big competitive advantage there. So a key element of your platform is the delivery of value-added services and more comprehensive information processing features that enterprises, payment processors, and small businesses building on the BSV blockchain will need. Can you add some more color to TAAL's efforts here?
Yeah, I think when you think about value-added services, and my mind goes to things like storage, geofencing, applications that allow you to do complex search. Really, if you take one step back from that, it's really the adoption of new tools to help onboard enterprise and developers to make it easy for them to develop on top of this blockchain. And if you start thinking in that way, that we have easy to use scripts and easy to use tools, just like the Ethereum network has. The broader adoption of that, you're going to see a whole bunch of new services pop up, and payment rails and all kinds of things to make it easy for guys to use. I was looking at one just the other day about smart contracts, and it's everyone kind of understands what a smart contract is now, and you can build it on one network where your transaction fee might be $17 or $18. You could build it on our network where your transaction fee might be less than a penny. So when we think about mass adoption, it's really the only blockchain that makes a lot of sense.
So in addition to the transaction processing, TAAL does have a cryptocurrency mining business. What do you mine? How much processing power does the company currently have, and where does it expect to get to? How many coins does the company anticipate winning on a daily basis? I mean, what do you see as the background and go forward for that side of the business?
Well, right now we're the largest processor on the BitcoinSV blockchain. It's our intention to try to maintain that leadership position going forward. We announced to the market recently that we're going to win at least 30 blocks a day, and as you know, there's 6.25 native coins in every block, and it's a simple math equation you can work out against the price of BSV today. But having that level of success winning blocks every day, which I think we announced that we're around 450 petahash today to get that work done. It's all about being able to offer levels of service to enterprise clients. They want different clients have different demands as far as how fast their data gets on chain, and we have plenty of processing power to make sure that can happen on a real steady cadence. So I think also we announced recently we had about 84,000 BSV on the balance sheet, and we believe in BSV and we believe in the price going up over time, but also there's a lot of very useful ways we can use BSV in certain types of applications to incentivize other miners, to incentivize customers and developers and all kinds of other people by using that treasury. And one of the great things about BSV is micropayments. It's just so amazing for micropayments. Like I always use the example, it's really easy to send $1 million somewhere, it's really hard to send 2 cents. And if you can do that and it not cost you $3 to send 2 cents, then you might have a whole other ocean of opportunities and applications that you can bring out. So essential in our business is still being in the mining business. We still have to have that fundamental layer to be able to do what we do. But on top of that, transaction processing, billing in fiat, storage, search, these other applications that we layer on top of it, that'll be the predominant source of revenue for the company in the future.
Interesting. Now, I know you recently announced you had made a deal to buy some more mining rigs to increase your processing power there. Can you give us a little more detail around that? And, obviously it's in the news, it has been that it's been difficult to get these mining rigs. And, how are you guys dealing with that certain situation right now?
Yeah, in the case of that kind of base level of infrastructure, you have to be thinking a minimum of 12 months in advance at all times. And the good news is that TAAL's well financed, so we've been able to think that way. We have got most of our mining equipment for the first half of the year already up and online. We'll have the balance of it probably sometime near the end of this quarter. And then what we've said to the market is that we've got about another 4,000 machines coming, and they'll come out in a steady march starting at the end of the fourth quarter and into the first quarter of 2022. And by that time, we'll have already announced additional plans for 2022, so the market understands where we're going with all that stuff. But I think you can plan all you want, but really we want to have a lot of wiggle room here and have lots of extra space, so that if the market accelerates faster than anticipated, we'll be ready for it.
One of the interesting aspects of TAAL is its partnership with NChain, a global leader in advisory, research, and development of open blockchain technologies. In fact, the founder of NChain is TAAL's CEO. Can you provide some detail into the relationship and how it is benefiting TAAL?
Yeah, NChain is one of the most amazing companies in the ecosystem, and so if TAAL is a infrastructure player, we've got computers and cables and the software that runs all that stuff for transaction processing and winning blocks. NChain would be the intellectual property software company, and they're very much part of that solution that I was talking about earlier, about building those tools and those on-ramping capabilities and building applications that will hasten adoption on the BitcoinSV blockchain. And yeah, we're very, very close. But we're separate companies, but we do share the same chairman. I think we have some of the similar shareholders. We certainly attend events together, and from time to time even share some office space in different cities around the world. So it's a great relationship. Both roles are very, very different, but very essential to the success of BitcoinSV.
Now, you touched on it briefly about capital. How is the company positioned? Will additional raises be necessary?
We're in great shape right now. The company just raised $40 million. Our principal shareholder was the lead order on that deal, and we were able to attract outside institutional investors as well. It's not often that you get a company that's this well capitalized. We just put up a profitable quarter. We're growing very, very quickly, and our treasury is in great shape. So what we've said to the market is our intention, to the extent that we can, to keep our BSV. But if we have to sell some because we think there's a better use of capital, then we'll go ahead and do that. But right now, I think I worked it out. We have over 60 months of cash. If we stopped, just came in and had coffee every day and didn't really work. We've got plenty of cash for survival. That being said, we're a growth technology companies, and our job is to grow. And we'll look at opportunities as they arise to make sure that we are pulling forward every single opportunity we can.
So you mentioned Calvin Ayre, the billionaire, founder of Bodog, investor in numerous blockchain companies, holds 44% of TAAL's common. What is the company's relationship with him, and how is TAAL benefiting from that relationship?
Well, Calvin's been amazingly supportive, and he's a wonderful shareholder. He's a passive shareholder. He's an investor like any other, but he does have a serious stake in the company. But we are, we operate completely independently, and he's got a lot of investments in a lot of other companies in and around the BitcoinSV ecosystem as well. But it's a great option to have if you can have somebody that's passionate, absolutely committed to what you're doing, and also has the ways and means to be helpful, and lower your cost of capital over time. That's a great relationship. And I think if you see him online, and you'll see interviews with him on many subjects in and around the BitcoinSV, of which TAAL is just one.
Very interesting. You're right. It's great to have someone like that in your corner. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, Chris, and your history with the company?
Sure. So this is the fourth time I've been president of a company like this, a small growing company, third time public, one time private. I took a break from being an entrepreneur for, which I thought was going to be about a year. It ended up being about 15 or 16 years to work in the capital markets, over on your side of the street. So very familiar with capital markets, was involved in the cash equities investment banking side of the business for a long time here in Canada. And for me, that started off as what I thought would be a pit stop, just to learn how it all worked, and hold all you guys accountable as I'm going out and running my companies. But it ended up being a great foundation for seeing so many companies, meeting so many amazing entrepreneurs, really understanding how things work in the boardroom, and how capital formation really happens. And so that's my specialty. Believe me, TAAL doesn't have me here because I'm great with computers. I can barely print. I can barely get that done. But as far as everything else that has to do with capital formation and trying to position the company, and it's all the choices that you don't make too. So when companies are at this stage, everything looks interesting. Like everything, so you're surrounded by curious, smart people, and everything's interesting. But there's only so many things we could be doing and that we should be doing. So focusing those resources in on where we think the most profit is in the future is definitely a key part of the position. And we've been able to continue to assemble an amazing team. The majority of the people in our company today started since Christmas this year in 2021. So it's been a weird time. We all meet like this on Zoom. We're all in different parts of the world for the most part, but it's been really exciting and really amazing.
Thank you for joining us for this C-Suite interview presentation brought to you by channelchek. Visit our YouTube channel for more interview content, as well as virtual roadshows and conference presentation replays. New content is added regularly, so subscribe below to stay up to date. Visit channelchek.com or click the link in the description to access equity research, news, and advanced market data on this and the 6,000 other small and micro-cap companies listed.